So far, so good. That's the word from the TSA's chief. Line of travelers moved smoothly at airports around the country, despite that internet campaign to get passengers to refuse body scans and get the pat-downs to be disruptive and slow down traffic on the busiest travel day of the year. Critics called these scans too invasive, and they're hoping to make a point to the TSA.
I did feel like it was a little bit invasion of my privacy, just because you can see it's like a strip search.
So far, most passengers appear to be opting for these scanners.
If they want to try and see what I've got hidden in my bikini, they're welcome to.
Well, as a protest, this woman decided to wear a bikini through the security checkpoint at Los Angeles International Airport. There were some other scattered protests on this Thanksgiving Eve, including a man wearing a Speedo-style bathing suit walking around the airport in Salt Lake City. And protesters in Phoenix held signs reading "porno scans." Closer to home, the new security screenings are on the minds of many passengers at B.W.I, the busiest travel day of the year. ABC 2 News' Roosevelt Leftwich live at the airport tonight to tell us if travelers there have decided to opt out. Rosie?
Well, Kelly, things have really picked up here at B.W.I Thurgood Marshal Airport as Thanksgiving rush it's already in full swing. And despite those threats of protest that you mentioned, things have moved along pretty smoothly here, and most folks have been able to get to their destinations. So for many people, things have been so far so good.
If you're going to fly out of B.W.I Thurgood Marshal Airport, midday is probably a good time to do it. Even on Thanksgiving, it's brisk but steady. Most folks expected, well, lines that went all the way down the corridor. They had those this morning and will probably get them again between 4 and 8 tonight, the busy time. But even with the lines, the airport says things were good, busy, but good.
Extremely busy. We've been steady, extremely busy, but so far so good. We haven't seen anything. So again, it's been very smooth.
In fact, most folks going through the security lines expected it to be slowed down by people getting a pat down. Protesters had planned to opt out of the airport's new scanning system, saying that it's an invasion of privacy. But most passengers don't realize that only about 20% of them will actually have to make that choice. Most folks will go through the normal metal detectors like they always have. It surprised Daniel Manning, who flew in from Boston today.
I was expecting a much longer security line. I didn't even have one. I expected my flight to be delayed. It was on time. I think it was actually 5 minutes early than it was.
But for most flyers, they just want to get home. Yeah, they don't like the idea of having to deal with scanners or pat-downs or anything like that. But Mark Minton of Annapolis says as long as his kids are flying safe, he has no problem dealing with either issue.
I want to be safe, and I want us all to get there safely, so it's all good.
So scanners don't bother you, pat-downs don't bother you?
No, I'll opt for the scanner.
Well, now it's crunch time out here at the airport. Take a look behind me. As you can see, this is where the arrival gates are. This is the line to get to the arrival gates as folks are grandmas riding up in the Tahoe to pick up the kids and everybody else that's coming into town this weekend. Now, remember, the TSA does say that fewer than 20% of the people that go through, the 1.6 million people that are expected to fly this Thanksgiving weekend will actually be picked out of line to either have the choice of going through the scanners or having the pat down. So the odds that this will happen to you are pretty high. And they say that so far today, things have moved along pretty well, other than some of the isolated protests that they have found at different parts of the country. So far, no protests here. However, there is a group expected to protest out here a little later on tonight. Reporting live, Roosevelt Leftwich, ABC 2 News.